Welcome to She Says with your host, Stephanie Regalado. She Says guests share stories from their challenges to successes and, most importantly, the journey of womanhood woven alongside the collaboration of sisterhood. From self, love, friends and family, to hot topics, career, and world views, Stephanie and her guests discuss matters with utmost openness and honesty. So let's hear what she says. Here's Stephanie.
Hello, welcome to She Says. I'm your host, Stephanie Regalado. I'm excited to have Julie Honekamp with me. Julie, you're the CEO of Spokane Neighborhood Action Partners, more widely known as SNAP.
Indeed.
Because it's a nice, quick little snap. And I've heard of so many little bits and pieces over the years of the amazing work that you guys do. And sometimes it's amazing to me to think, I don't even know how much is under your umbrella, because some of the things it sounds like you accomplish with your team could be an organization all on its own. So what are what's your mission? What are some of the core values you bring to this community?
Yeah, so SNAP, as you have alluded to, is quite a complex organization. We actually have over 30 programs.
Oh my Lord, okay, that's why.
And multiple kind of different subsidiaries even under the parent company SNAP. Mm-hmm. And so we've been around now for 52 years in this community.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and served last year just shy of 49,000, and that's an unduplicated count, people in Spokane. So
last year alone?
Last year alone.
You served 49,000
people.
Wow.
So about 1 in 10 in Spokane County will walk through one of our SNAP doors, and we're in 7 locations right now. So.
Okay. How long have you been CEO?
Yeah, so going on 7 years. So I've been with SNAP for 20, but CEO for 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
How has the organization changed over those 20 years that you've been involved in it?
Definitely gotten more complex.
Yeah,
and I think we've done a better job these days of thinking about whole person needs. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times our funding sources, and there's over 100, will give you just one piece. So here's some energy, or here's a place to live. And we need those resources, but we really meet the people where they're at and say, what is your dream? So is your dream maybe to get out of your car, and to get into a home, or do you want to graduate college, and then we try to hear their dream and try to match up the resources. So
I love that.
It's more of a whole person kind of philosophy.
I love that it seems that so many organizations are moving to the point of meeting someone where they are versus bringing a bucket of saying this is what we offer and having that person try to figure out how to plug themselves in. But meeting someone where they are, hearing them, and then being the conduit to get them through the passageway, so help them to the other side.
Indeed,
their goals.
And really one of the things that grounds SNAP is we have 3 core values, and we hire people by them, we choose programs by them, we try to align our money by them. So they're about community and respect and justice. So all of our clients will get thank you notes that talk about how people feel when they walk into SNAP as being seen. Sometimes when you're homeless, you're invisible. Or maybe you've lost your job and you've never had to walk into a place for services before, and it's pretty scary. I mean, I can imagine what it would feel like to go and actually ask for help.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so feeling respect is huge. So community, respect, and justice, everything we do comes from those 3 values.
It seems as though homelessness in our community, particularly in downtown Spokane, is getting a lot of press and creating a lot of friction between businesses and community members. Oh, I don't know. What can you tell? Yeah,
it's challenging right now, and as we know, some of our neighboring communities, whether it's Portland or Seattle, they've been experiencing these challenges for quite some time, and Spokane has not had that. I think with the really kind of challenging housing market, particularly in rental right now, less than 1% vacancy.
Wow.
And
all the prices have gone up in rentals.
They have.
I mean, far exceeding anyone's cost of living raises, if those are even a thing anymore. I don't even know if those exist really. But
and the other thing that's happening is that people that are wanting to buy homes, like first-time home buyers, there's not as much kind of available out there in kind of that starter home price point. So people are kind of being held in that rental market. So that makes it even harder then for people that need affordable housing. There's not a lot of movement. So we got a lot of different variables at play And just, of course, when space starts to get limited, we have a little bit of kind of building and growth, and people are closer to each other, that some of those rubs start to show up. And I think there's some other variables at play that are bringing people here. But again, we always come at it from a place of respect, and even when I'm driving down the street and pull up to a light and I see somebody, I make myself look at people.
Yes.
Right? I don't necessarily offer them a resource as far as cash.
Yeah.
But I want to at least acknowledge that you're human and hi, welcome.
Well, and that's been an amazing thing as a mother with my kids in the car, because I always make sure that I'm fascinated by humans. I have a natural curiosity by them. So I'm always looking and observing. And my kids, when they were kind of younger, but they started observing me, said, "Mom, isn't that awkward? Why are you looking at them? You're not you're not giving them money. You don't have cash or whatever."
Yeah.
And I said, because they're humans.
Indeed.
And I'm in my car in the middle of my day, and they just so happen to be on this corner in the middle of their day, and we're just two humans passing by one another.
Indeed.
And I think it's important to recognize each other's existence through those moments. Otherwise, we're in our own little cocoon.
Indeed, and it's always how would I want to be treated?
Yeah.
Whether it's in the homeless, which is just a subset of kind of our work,
yes,
or it's all the way through to maybe somebody wanting to start their own small business.
Yeah.
I want somebody to welcome me and say, how can I be of help? And what value do you bring to what you're trying to achieve?
And speaking of businesses, I've had so many acquaintances and friends that have found extreme value from the work that you do in your business. It's almost incubator type of work. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So SNAP really works primarily in 3 different areas. So one is around housing services, one's around financial stability, and a program within the financial stability is our Women's Business Center. Which is actually open to all people, men and women alike, but we provide a lot of technical assistance. So how to write a business plan, how to do marketing.
Are business plans still important?
They are something that if you want to at least be
Can we skip those?
I know. At least if you want to get a loan, you'll usually be asked about, hey, what is your plan?
Okay.
So marketing, taxes, all that good stuff.
Okay.
And then we actually have funds. So we lend. We helped about, I think, 47 small businesses get started last year. So we are helping entrepreneurs of all flavors kind of get launched. And there's a couple good restaurants and things downtown even that SNAP helped, or SNAP Financial Access helped start.
Okay. Yeah. I love it. So you said there's 3 core. Did you say
so
the
financial stability, housing services. And so housing services is all things weatherization, minor home repair. So if you need a wheelchair ramp to stay in your home as opposed to going to a nursing home, we want to make sure you get a nominal $1,000 wheelchair versus being displaced. There's also community action, which is our 3rd core, which is where energy assistance lives. We have a little bit of money in a vehicle emission repair program. And then we're doing transportation, a lot of really interesting work in partnership with the city and the fire department around helping folks meet some emergency transportation needs.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Because transportation is so important, and we don't necessarily have the most robust infrastructure for cost-efficient, anyone can access types of transportation.
And reliable. So, when you are maybe a single parent, just trying to make ends meet, and you got to get your kids to daycare and to a job and maybe go to school, and you have that one vehicle, and maybe it doesn't pass emissions, and all you need is a little bit of help to get that car repaired and tuned up. That might be something we can help with. We also, in partnership with a number of different providers, healthcare providers, insurance companies, Providence, we're doing an emergency room diversion program, which is super interesting to me. So if you were to call 911, say, and think you need to go to the emergency room, and they come out and say, oh, it's just an earache, they kind of triage you. They'd say, instead of sitting in the ER for 6 hours and getting, $1,000 bill, what about urgent care? So we then send a kind of a cabulance to pick you up, take you to urgent care, take you to the pharmacy, and bring you home.
Oh, wow.
So kind of in a diverting folks from the emergency room.
Which is incredibly important.
Very. And then what it will do for our clients is it keeps them from getting big bills that may force them into medical bankruptcy and start this whole other chain of things. So
how do you choose who you serve and who you
really great question.
turn away, I guess, would be the other.
So there's that whole range of programs,
Yes.
and every one of them has different sets of funders that come with rules.
Mm-hmm.
But we also, every 4 years, do a community needs assessment
Okay.
that looks at the needs of the community and kind of prioritizes what the highest kind of need is.
Okay.
And then SNAP, if we're not providing it, we
Mm-hmm.
turn to our partners and say, how can we support you to provide it?
Oh, excellent.
We may not be the best ones to do it ourselves, so what can we do? Second Harvest to support you in food, or career path services in employment, and try to bolster the whole community again.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things to see nonprofits working together and organizations working together. It's always really frustrating when I see a new nonprofit pop up that I see is already, that need is being served by maybe a longer standing entity, and I wish that all that power could be put in one place versus kind of thinning it out and not necessarily having that can be tricky for people to know which nonprofit is going to have the most, I guess, impact and
Indeed,
empower in our community.
And I'd say, running a nonprofit these days is very complex. I mean, I think a lot of times nonprofits kind of get you're a little nonprofit,
right?
And
no, they're businesses,
serious businesses.
Yes, absolutely,
with multiple subsidiaries and big budgets, and it's pretty complex to run a nonprofit. Having said that, I think there are times when some small specialty nonprofits might make sense. So maybe you have a focus on a specific population, and I think about the Salish School.
Yes,
right now, they are doing amazing work, and that's something that they are uniquely set up to do, and probably not something that could be easily lumped in with someone else.
Exactly, and I'm thinking of multiple similar ones with the foster care in particular, because there's all these little gaps, no matter how much coverage you have provided in the community, and so definitely beneficial for those. Yeah. We are going to take a quick break and hear a moment from our sponsors, which we appreciate very much, and then we'll be right back.
They say it takes a community to raise a family. It also takes one to build a business. I came to Spokane 12 years ago as a Whitworth student, and I planned to leave after graduation. But the more I got to know this community, the more I wanted to become a part of it. My husband and I have built our business in Spokane, and now we're raising our family here too. We operate a consulting company that provides creative business development strategies. Our approach is holistic and dependent on intentional connections and relationships. And no one understands connections and relationships better than GSI. They direct momentum towards investments in our community, provide resources that help business leaders connect, and they're dedicated and passionate about making Spokane great. GSI gives me the confidence to build my business here because they believe every organization, even a small one like mine, adds big value to our community. With GSI's help, Spokane will be a place my son will want to build his career too. I'm Eva Marquette, owner of Freshview. We're creating something greater with Greater Spokane Incorporated.
Hi, this is Kurt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org.
Welcome back to She Says. I'm Stephanie Regalado with Julie Honekamp, CEO of Spokane. I got it. Spokane Neighborhood Action Partners, SNAP. And we were just chatting during the break about women in particular, because that's our viewers and that's who we actually happen to be women as well. Sure. So we know that there are so many different needs of the people around us that we support, and one in particular is our being the sandwich generation and caring for our parents, or kind of foreseeing. What kind of work does SNAP do to help support our aging adults in the community?
So seniors right now is one of those things that we're kind of keeping a pretty close eye on, particularly as kind of that silver tsunami is coming with all the retiring, aging baby boomers. So we currently have a program called the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, and that goes into nursing homes, boarding homes, adult family homes, and actually pays attention to the rights of those folks that may not have family members close by.
Oh, good.
And so I think all the time about my parents who are in their 80s and gratefully in fairly good health, but they're not here in my community. Okay. So hopefully if the time ever comes when they need to be in a place, or I choose with them to put them in a home, that there's someone there keeping an eye out for them, making sure they're getting their meds, and that their dentures are being cleaned, and all kinds of things we hear about. So there is a cadre of about 40 volunteers that go out and do thousands of visits to these places. And we're in 5 counties in Northeast Washington. So they go up into Colville and Okanagan and down to Whitman County and check in on folks in those kind of facilities, which I think is super important to have a set of eyes there. So
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Also, as the weather gets chillier, energy assistance will be a big one, and we were talking during the break as well that you guys are booked out for phone interviews through
the end of December.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, we open appointments usually starting around October. That date changes a little every year, but then within a week or two, they're all booked up through the end of December. Wow. And then in January, we'll open again and take another several thousand appointments. Okay. And you're welcome to call 456-SNAP. Okay. And anybody that picks up the phone there can help tell you when the next appointment session will open and how to connect you. And if you're out right now and have an immediate emergency, please go ahead and call. You don't have to wait till January.
Oh, excellent. And the other great program that you have are the home repairs. We touched a little bit on that before, but you're saying since we're turning on heaters, if something's not sounding right,
please go ahead. Yeah, give a call again. And, there's a multiple different kind of programs within SNAP, and they'll talk with you to say, hey, is it a water heater? Is it your furnace? Or maybe you just, again, have one shower that's leaking, and we want to kind of get in there and see what we can do to help get that home repaired. So, again, you're not ending up in homelessness and kind of cycling back. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, please go ahead and give a call, and we'll see if we can help you.
Another super, probably uncomfortable, hot button topic is citizenship, and people seem concerned about those who receive resources who aren't necessarily citizens. How does SNAP address that concern?
Yeah, so every one of the 30 programs is different. So again, I would say just call, and it depends on which of those programs you connect with, whether there's qualifications and concerns about that. Some don't ask, and some do ask. Some of them have dollars that won't allow us to serve folks who aren't citizens. Okay. But others we can. So it is pretty delicate.
Yes, it is very delicate. Yeah. Has SNAP experienced any backlash about that?
We have not, and good. Again, I'm grateful. It kind of comes down to our value of respect. Yes. And also, you mentioned earlier about other nonprofits. And sometimes if we're not that person that can serve you, we may know of a resource and be able to give a warm handoff to another entity that maybe has some more flexibility.
I love that. So anyone, regardless of circumstances, regardless of, anyone who feels as though they would benefit from some assistance, can call 456 SNAP. Easy, and I remember that already, so that's a good one. Yeah. I can't imagine. You said you have about 100 streams of financial
funding sources. Yeah.
And your big one is the end of the year appeal coming out.
We do, yeah. Awesome. So we love partners and donors in so many, and we love to have them all. So whether you're somebody that can write a check for $1 or $10, somebody that would love to volunteer and come stuff some envelopes or help us put together bags for something. It's not always a financial contribution, but anyone that's interested in helping SNAP support our mission, we'd love you to have you join us. And again, we have a website that's snapwa.org. So snapwa.org.
Excellent. And how many people do you employ?
About 150.
And then how many volunteers do you think you
Boy,
have?
we have thousands of hours. Yeah, I don't know that we count them off the top of my head by people, but let me see. 6,700 hours of volunteer service last year. So
Wow. Do you guys award your volunteers at any fun programs or anything?
Well, we have, for sure, we have a partner appreciation event every spring, and it's probably one of the funnest events we do. We get together all in one room, and we have a number of awards. I think there's 5 different awards that are handed out, and it's amazing. It's really packed. People come and enjoy.
How many people do you think are usually there?
Probably about 100.
Oh, fun. Okay.
We've usually had it up at Perry Street Pizza, and
fun.
People are busting out.
Yes,
it's time for a new venue, I think.
Yes. Well, and we were just talking about, I don't know how we got on the topic before we started, how, I think just about life, womanhood, which is this program is really all about, how things can bring us to moments where we kind of look at everything and see where we're going to give power to things. And I was mentioning that I've discovered nothing brings me closer to that point of figuring out what is noise and distraction versus what's really important is facing a tragedy or experiencing a tragedy.
Yeah, and I shared that we had a staff member recently that lost their home to a fire.
Yes.
And I'd been listening every morning to all the heartache that's down in California and thinking about people that lose their homes. And gratefully, no one has lost their life, at least with our staff person, but it's just a good reminder that in the end, what unites us is all fairly similar, right? I mean, it's usually we all want a place to have a roof over our head, most of us, and want some social connection, whether that's family or friends. Usually want some gainful employment or way to make money and food. It's kind of that basic Maslow. And so I always think about how do we create community that's whole and kind.
Right.
We're kind of living in a time that may not be as kind as I'd like it to be.
I feel the same way. And what can we do, Julie? I've really tried to focus on not engaging in anything that's divisive or warfare in any way. Even when I get feisty sometimes, I've learned just kind of scrub that from my brain and just try to put out messages of positivity. And as though that's the space we're all living in. But what do you do?
Yeah.
And you see so many things through the work that your organization does.
Yeah. I try when life gets super loud and busy, just to stay with one person, right? So it's that person that's walking through the door, saying, I'm here, I could use some help. And so in that moment, I'm trying to hang with that person and see what I can do from a kind place of service, even if I have to tell you I don't have any resources right now. I at least want you to feel like I'm engaged with you. And then try to look at the whole system. I mean, I'm trying to keep staff that are balanced and happy and not experiencing that overload and compassion fatigue all the time.
Right.
So trying to keep them healthy and resilient. But you know, sometimes it's saying I could focus on a lot of the negative, and there's a whole bunch out there, but let me look for the 5 successes today.
Yeah.
You know, so somebody had sent me a video earlier. I'm like, oh, there it is. That's my one for today.
Yes.
It's a good news. It's a good moment, right? And not to forget those moments because they're out there. They really are.
How do you break free from all that runs through your head the course of a workday when you go home or go on a trip?
Yeah, it is tough, you know, and I'm in my 30th year, or I will be in January, of doing this type of work.
Okay.
And thinking about more and more about balance. I think it's a little bit of a myth.
Yes.
But it's something I'm always striving for. So
Yeah.
I think a lot about right brain, left brain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a really left brain. I'm a spreadsheet task doer, grind it out.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and so I've taken up making myself learn how to knit.
Oh.
And it's not so much the knitting, but it's I want to learn something new.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
You know, so I'm getting on YouTube and trying to learn new stuff.
Yes.
And also make myself do things that scare me a little.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some of those out there, and it's like, oh boy.
What's an example of something that?
So
you're gonna push through?
I have an amazing boat that my father gave me that was kind of a family boat, quite large, pretty intimidating.
Yes.
And so thinking about a trip next summer where I venture out into the San Juans and try to navigate on my own and see how that goes. So
That sounds extraordinary.
and quiet.
And very quiet.
Yeah.
I took my kids to the San Juans over spring break, and it was just so magical.
Beautiful.
There and beautiful. And it was foggy and rainy the whole time, but it brought its own
Beauty.
amazing beauty. So
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
I haven't asked this question of a guest in a long time,
Sure.
but we're in the right place for it.
Okay.
If your life was a snow globe and you shook it all up and all the pieces fell back down in any way, is there anything differently you'd want?
Boy,
And
that's
what's those?
a fantastic question. I love the water. So I would love for the globe to be calm, and I'd love for there to be more kindness
Yeah.
in it. Maybe a vision of a place that is a community that is more gentle right
Yeah.
now, right? And most snow globes have that kind of
Yeah.
serene look about it. And
Yeah.
wouldn't that be great if maybe Spokane was a little more serene and kind? So,
Absolutely. I love that too.
yeah.
Thank you so much for being here and the work that you've done for almost 30 years. Incredible. And carrying that burden that a lot of us are relieved to not have to carry, but you do it for us. And to your 150 employees and the almost 7,000 hours of volunteer work, it's incredible. Thanks for being here, Julie.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into She Says, and we will see you the next time.
She Says is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content.